Hi, this is Professor Sampson, and I have loaded up my AI for Business book onto WordPress. And so this little video is to just show you a few features as of today, which is in August of 2024. This is going to change, it's going to evolve. This is kind of the first version of this thing. But anyway, I want to show you a few features. So if you go on the internet to discover.byu.edu/AI, that is where the book is currently housed. The home page is not the best. I need to work on that. I haven't had time. But it's has the book here at the beginning. You have to log in to use the book. So it'll say it's a private website. You have to log in. See me if you want to log in. All of my students, I'll give them logins to this so they can access this information. So I'm going to log in here. You can either log in as with your BYU ID if you're a BYU student, or I can give you an email address. Or a username. I'll give you another username for that. I'm just going to log in now as a BYU student right now. So, if you log in as a BYU student, here's what you see. Here's the book. That's a picture of me. It's okay. A little grinny there, but anyway, read through and learn a little bit about the book. You can start out with Chapter 0, and Chapter 0 actually is just about the book, why I did the book, how it differs from other books, some of the goals. Using the AI Tutor, this is an important part of this book. Intentionally, the material in this course will require you to dig a little bit deeper than just superficial reading of the book, meaning you will see topics that you might not understand that are described in the book. And because students come in with different backgrounds, different levels of understanding about some of these concepts, this will help everybody get a customized experience. So, for example, there's a term here that I put in this Chapter 0, which is semantic embedding. If I click on this term, semantic embedding, it will actually create a question to the AI Tutor down here in the right corner of the screen. So here's the AI Tutor right here. You can actually, I'm going to reset it here, and I can call this up and I can ask it any kind of question I want. I can type in questions directly like, what is semantic embedding? I can type whatever kind of questions I want. To simplify things, I've actually created a AI Tutor helper. And if you click on a term that's a highlighted term in any of the chapters, like this term here, it will actually put the term up here in this box, and you can have it explain the term, you can define it, you can have it give an example, you can ask it to give ask you a quiz question, have it assess your knowledge. So I'm going to ask the AI Tutor this question. The question, as it phrases it here, is briefly explain the concept of semantic embedding from an AI perspective to a non-technical business professor. I have to mention what that thing is about the business professor. It won't say that on yours. That's my setting here. So I can click Ask, and it will then, the AI will actually give me an answer here. Semantic embedding is a technique used in artificial intelligence, blah, blah, blah. If you have other questions about that, you can ask follow-up questions. I can expand this to full screen in case I want to see more text that's there, or I can actually hide it here and I can bring it back up again. All right, if I want it, for example, to give me a quiz question about it, I can just click on this little button right here. It'll ask a quiz question, and there's the quiz question. And looking at this, I'm going to guess the right answer is going to be D. I don't know if that's true or not. And sadly, it said no, the correct answer was B. Oh well, that's the way it goes. I guessed, so it's better not to guess, better to read the question and study the topic. So it will give you assessments of these things. When you're looking at the tutor, if you click this reset button here, it will actually reset it and clear out the history of conversation there, or you can click here to reset the tutor as well. That does exactly the same thing. Now, when you ask these questions, they are from a perspective, they're for an audience that you can define here. So who should the answer be written for? For me, I said a non-technical business professor, because that's who I consider myself to be, somewhat non-technical. You could have it actually answer it to a software engineer, or answer it for a 10-year-old. So if I select a 10-year-old child and say explain it, explain the concept of semantic embedding from an AI perspective to a 10-year-old child, the answer that it gives is, imagine you have a big box of crayons, and each crayon represents a word. Some crayons are similar in color, like blue and light blue and so forth. So it kind of describes that in terms of that a 10-year-old child would understand. So you can actually select of the options here. Now the base option that you will see is a business student. That's kind of the default one. But you can actually set your own option for how you want it to respond. So for example, I'm going to click on this little I here. This little I for information, it says click here to enter who you are in your profile, and it will show up here to customize the responses provided by the AI tutor. So I'm going to click on that. Okay, and now I'm in the profile, and I can come in here, and there's preferences for the AI tutor. The target audience for the AI tutor, in other words, what type of person would you like the AI tutor to tailor answers to? Business student, software engineer, 10-year-old, something else. I put in a non-technical business professor, but I could put in something else here. Like, for example, as a side part of my job, on occasion, I try to keep things light in the classroom and otherwise. And here I'm going to put in comedian. Oops, if I can spell it. Okay, so I'm going to put a comedian in. I have to click this update profile button here. And then I can, as my profile's been updated, I can click here to return to the page I was at before. There's other things you can set, like your, what name you want to go by and things like that. Your profile just basically describes you as the student using the system here. So now I'm back where I was, again, back in About the Book. Now it says, who should the answer be written for? A comedian. So it will actually default to a comedian here. So I'm going to do semantic embedding and have it explain it to a comedian. Oh my goodness. So let's see what it will do with that. Briefly explain the concept of semantic embedding from an AI perspective to a comedian. It's scrolling here. I have to scroll it down. Actually, let me make it full screen here. Okay, all right, imagine you're at a comedy club and every joke is like a word. Some jokes are similar, like puns and one-liners, while others are totally different, like observational humor and slapstick. Semantic embedding is like putting all those jokes into a giant comedy database where the similar ones are grouped together, so when you tell a joke about cats, the computer knows to pull up other cat jokes related to humor, making it easier to find the right punchline for the moment. It's like having a comedy buddy who knows exactly what kind of humor you're going for. All right, does that make sense? Sure. All right, great. All right, thank you so much, tutor. So let me minimize this again. So as we go through the chapters, they will have information here. This is chapter 0. In fact, to get to the other chapters, currently you have to go select them off the list here. I think I should put a menu at the top. I haven't got around to doing that yet. But or you can go to the home page of the website and go back in. But probably the easiest thing is just select it off the chapter list here. I'm going to go to chapter 1. Okay, so here's chapter 1. Chapter 1 actually has quite a few terms it introduces here. So there's robotics as a term that it introduces. There are some footnotes. The footnotes are in green. And if you highlight over them, it'll say click for information. And this was actually referring to something to do with IBM. And if I click on that, it will open a window and tell me the reference that came from about an augmented workforce. Okay, so that's how you handle footnotes, is they show up right in the text there if you just click on them. There's the Polanyi Ai principle, whatever that is, the artificial neural networks, rule-based systems, and so forth. These are all the different terms that are introduced in chapter 1. There's a little diagram, the future, which I have in each section of the book. And then at the bottom, I have a list of key concepts from the chapter. So as well, what it does is just summarizes all those concepts. So I can pick one of these concepts, such as the Polanyi principle. And again, I'm a comedian here, so if I ask it the question, it's going to give me an answer. Summarize what we know we can't tell. It's like when a comedian has a great instinct. This is great. I haven't really checked this out with giving comedian answers very much, but it looks like it does a pretty good job of that. I suggest you get a good descriptor of who you are for this. Maybe not a comedian, but maybe a business student or a non-technical person, or, depends on where you're coming from, an arts major or something like that, or a practicing worker. So that's more of the terms that are there. In some of the later chapters, I have more or fewer terms there. So anyway, that's the current incarnation of the AI Tutor and the online book. And this will enhance as time goes on. One thing I do encourage is at the bottom, there's a place where you can give me feedback, comments, or suggestions. You can just type them here in the box, and I can look at those if there's suggestions about how to improve things or clarify things or so forth. So use the AI Tutor as much as you can to help you in your studies. One thing about the AI Tutor is it will limit what you ask it to things that are from the course. You can't ask it things that are completely unrelated, politics or, I don't know, finding your favorite restaurant or things like that. But you ask it things having to do with the course, and it will be very helpful for that. And I look forward to seeing those of you that are in my classes, to seeing you in class and talking about all the wonderful principles having to do with this great era of AI that we're coming to. Take care.